All right, lads, pull up a chair. It is Formula One Highlights 2025, Episode 2. That's right, Episode 2. We're going through 4 of them, lads. The first episode was last week. We reviewed races 1 to 7. Now we're going 8 to 14. So make sure you go back and rewind, lads, and start, obviously. Right? You've been told now what to do. Go back and watch the first one. And then come back to this one. Lads, okay, so we get to Monaco. Now, grab a coffee, because if you're Lando Norris at this stage when we got to Monaco this year, lads, grab a bottle of champagne. You definitely haven't earned it yet, because Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri did all the hard work in qualifying, my man. And because today, lads, we're not just talking Formula One. We're talking about a full-blown, slow-motion civil war inside the McLaren team, because this is really now where everything starts to crank up. And this happens so many times. And this is the chapter of the 2025 season where McLaren basically said to Red Bull and Ferrari and hell, even Mercedes, thanks for coming, lads, but the adults are talking now. And that's what really happened. Monaco, Spain, Canada, Austria, Britain, Belgium and Hungary. 7 races. This is where we're going to look at after, lads. We're going to look at, obviously, the results, but 2 McLaren drivers, one absolutely furious Dutchman in a Red Bull. And at the end of it all, we roll into the summer break with Oscar Piastri leading by 9 points over his own teammate Lando Norris. And Verstappen sitting there like the ex-boyfriend watching the girl get married to someone with better hair. I mean, it was a real weird scenario. I mean, this wasn't just a title fight, lads. This is a custody battle for the soul of McLaren, and it really does cook up a storm. And the best part, they're both nice guys on the surface. Lando Norris, too nice. So let's get into it.
Walsh running the Irish green, and look at the move he's making down to the inside.
Moves to the front. What a move from 5th all the way to the lead in lap 1.
Walsh takes win number 2.
Peter. Walsh. The great thing about coming into Monaco, lads, is that we got the rust off the start of the season. Everybody's up to speed. Everybody knows the story. There's no excuses that we can't learn the car anymore or this or that. Piastri, he already announced himself like this isn't rookie stuff anymore. He's here to ruin careers. Like Lando Norris, he finally kind of broke the nice guy with a couple of wins here. Now, he was showing aggression, which is great. At the same time, you still have that question mark over him. Will he have it when it comes down to the real nitty-gritty pressure? And then, of course, you got Verstappen, still dangerous. And the Red Bull now inconsistent at this stage of the year, you know, and he needs a strategy, magic or chaos, to beat the McLarens at this stage. Ferrari with Leclerc, fast, slightly allergic to happy endings at this stage. Championship-wise, Piastri has been a fraction sharper up to now. Tiny edges, a better start here, a little bit of better start there, cleaner stint here, a cleaner stint there. And it's the kind of stuff that over 10 races, this really can turn into a 10, hell, a 15, a 20 point lead, lads. And Monaco, it's not just a, cool glitz and glamour. It's a psychological knife fight because you've got such a narrow track. Qualifying is everything. Some people would argue with that one that qualifying can be 50% of your job done that weekend. I disagree, because if you don't qualify it on the front row here in Monaco, you can't be saying, well, look, it's 50-50. We still have a 50% chance of winning the race. You can't have that attitude. And even if you do have that attitude, it might make you fall asleep at the wheel in qualifying. Put people in the crap, put people in the fear. And sometimes, not all of us all the time, touch wood for all of us. But, you know, a lot of the time you can get some great results, and sometimes we need to be pushed to that. So you can't have that 50-50. I mean, I'm going to go 95%. I mean, really. Lads, Monaco, Lando Norris takes a brilliant win, followed by Leclerc in second, the homeboy of Monaco, and Piastri in third. But, you know, let's look at it though. In a way, it was a kind of a gripping Monaco Grand Prix, but in a way then it was an absolutely horrendous Grand Prix. Don't we all think this? I mean, like that sentence already tells you the story. With Norris winning, and at Monaco, the circuit for ego and status, you know, over Leclerc, Mr. Monaco, like we said, the home hero. I mean, guys, maybe you didn't know this, but Leclerc, when he finishes up on a Friday, Saturday or Sunday, the guy can literally pack his bag, his helmet and suit, and literally walk home to his Monaco apartment. Now, there's quite a few of them who can do it already because they all live in Monaco, but he's the home guy. I mean, that's so cool, man. And the report says Lando converted pole into victory. Okay. He led home Ferrari's Charles, McLaren Piastri in third. Verstappen had run an alternate strategy, held P1 until the penultimate lap, and then dropped back. But basically, like that's McLaren gave Norris the clean air and the golden ticket. Verstappen, he tried to mug them with strategy. It didn't work. Great crack at the wheel. You can't take that away from him. And it didn't work. And Piastri had to sit there thinking, okay, I'm the championship leader, but this lad has just beat me at Monaco from pole. That's gotta sting. And it really does, lads. I mean, in a way, Monaco is like winning a separate championship completely. It's almost like there's two championships in a year. There's winning the Monaco Grand Prix, and then there's the winning the championship. Because now, obviously, guys, if you're into Formula 1, you probably know already that people go down in the history books for winning the Monaco Grand Prix. Ayrton Senna, the king of Monaco. Now, they all say this, you know? And it really is. It's important stuff. I mean, even with Norris's drama early on with a massive lock-up at turn number 1, obviously he survived it. But it worked through virtual safety cars, traffic, two-stop rules, all the nonsense. And, you know, he still took the win, which, look, you got to give him that. At least he didn't buckle under the pressure, which was great to see. At least that. You know, meanwhile, Leclerc throws everything at him, but he couldn't get past. I mean, it's impossible, lads. Like we were just saying a moment ago. It really is 95%. Unless you go for Leclerc, unless he went for an absolute kamikaze move, which he probably would have been black flagged, or he would have taken out Norris with him, because those cars are so wide now. And Verstappen's offset tyre strategy collapsed at the end, and he drops to fourth with a late stop. Psychology check after Monaco. Norris, okay, he's feeling it. He can beat everyone, but he's not there yet. He hasn't clicked everything into place. Piastri's got some great points, but if this keeps happening, the championship cushion, it goes, lads. And Verstappen, he's now officially in the McLaren sandwich, and that's not good. Then we had Spain. So, Piastri punched back, and then he had Max lose his bloody mind. And this has exposed Max Verstappen into why he's not one of the greatest of all time, ladies and gentlemen. Right? Now, give me a little bit of rope on this one here. We're going to get into that in just a few moments, because I was gunning for Max Verstappen for the last few years on and off, and I was gunning for him again. I think he's a brilliant, terrific driver, but when it comes to being the GOATs, that's a entirely different story altogether, and we'll get back to that in just a second. Now, Piastri leads the McLaren from 1-2 with Norris obviously in second. And late drama for Verstappen and Russell, yeah. Spain can be boring sometimes, yes. It's a test track, it's long corners, everyone knows it very, very well. But not this year. Piastri started from pole, nails the launch, built an early gap over Verstappen. Norris and Max are trading places into turn 1 like two lads fighting over McDonald's fries. Piastri built an early lead. Verstappen overtakes Norris into turn 1. Norris takes it back. Verstappen leapfrogs the McLarens after the first pit stop. Classic Red Bull undercut nonsense, which is really, really good. I really think the Red Bull pit stop strategy is the best in the business. There's no two ways about it, lads. Then Red Bull go kind of rogue. They put Max on a 3-stop strategy, and this is where it goes to full drama. Later on, we get safety car, restart, Verstappen battling Russell, contact, Max forced down the escape road, had to give the position back, and because he had to give the position back, he had a little throwing the toys out of the cot moment, and that tells you everything. Ladies and gentlemen, you can argue with me. Ayrton Senna had a moment, or a few moments, of dirty driving. Now, if you know me, this guy is my god. But Ayrton Senna went for it when he had to do it. In Japan, different story. He got absolutely screwed the year before, and honestly, he knew he was going to get it again at Suzuka, and he said if Prost gets just a slightly into the lead in the turn 1, I'm going for it. And he even admitted it. So you can compare, you can think I'm being out of my mind. Yeah, fine, whatever way it is, lads. But it ain't the same thing. Schumacher went for some dodgy, dirty moves. But they weren't throwing the toys out of the cot dirty moves. Like Max Verstappen had to give a place back. He wasn't up for the championship. I mean, you see Schumacher in Jerez in Spain, Villeneuve and himself, the last quarter of the race, and it was either whoever finishes ahead is the champion. Now that's major pressure. And by the way, I'm not excusing Michael Schumacher for this, what he did back in the day. I'm not. You can just see different types of pressure. Max Verstappen in Spain is not leading the championship at this stage. He has to give one place back. He's not winning the thing outright and kicking ass and dominating. And he decides to just drive into George Russell. He's not even driving against George Russell for the championship. I mean, honestly, ladies and gentlemen, that was just a complete and utter breakdown. Sure, he even did it last year, guys, at Austria. Taking out Norris. Or not taking him out, but bashing into Lando Norris. And if you can lose your control this easy, because guys, this, you could understand it if it was a massive, massive pressure scenario. Championship up for grabs at this round, this is it. But this was not any of the championship scenarios. This was just a guy who just he gets so used to getting everything his own way, and now he's sulking. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, Max Verstappen is a brilliant driver too. He's just not on the top pedigree. So you can argue me on that one or not. I don't know. But okay, look, it was still a great race. I mean, there's no doubt about it. For us, it was majorly dramatic. And hey, this is what we love to see, right? And we get to Canada. Oh boy. When the McLarens finally hit each other. And George Russell takes the win. Max Verstappen takes second. In fact, which camera am I looking at again, lads? Oh, I'm sorry, this one over here. And Antonelli in third. So yeah, where do the McLarens go, huh? Well, I mean, this is where it really started to crank up the heat now, lads, like we said at the start of the episode. This is the start of teammates having goes off each other, and now the tension really starts to build in the McLaren team. And bookmark this race. I mean, this was the relationship changer. Up until Canada, okay, there was tension, yes. McLaren intra-team stuff, but it was clean. And then Canada, scar tissue. And we had Russell starting from pole which the car was very good around there. You know, he held the lead over Verstappen at the start. Different strategies across the pack. Lots of tyre nursing. Very, very Canada-like. Canada is a bitch for tyre wear, guys, and different tyres, this or that. It's a nightmare, you know. And then Russell, he's leading from Verstappen. Piastri's trying to catch Antonelli for third. Norris is right behind Piastri, smelling blood. Then the key line. The McLaren pair then engage in a feisty battle, and contact occurs between them after Norris hit the back of Piastri's car. I mean, I don't know if you'd call this a meltdown. Well, what else would you call it, really? It was a meltdown. It was a brain fart. And Lando doesn't just lose the place, he's out. Race over. Job done. Good luck. Pack your bags, fella. And to double salt the wound, he gets a 5-second penalty after the race for the collision. Now, that would be for him, the double salt. He deserved it. Where he tried to overtake Piastri was ridiculous. It was ridiculous, lads. Now, look, Russell wins first of the season, which was looked great for them. Verstappen in second and Antonelli in third, which was on his debut podium. So, you know, that was great for Antonelli to get the podium, lads. And then Piastri miraculously salvages fourth position with Leclerc in fifth. Like, can you imagine the debrief, lads? Oscar, yeah, I was ahead and managing, and he drove into me. You know, and what, Lando turns around and says, yeah, he braked early. What? No. There's no braking at that area. There's none. That kink, that right kink, is flat out. So I don't know where he went from that, man. Now, from a championship point of view, Piastri loses a few points, okay, but he survived. And I would say he was a very, very relieved guy too, but also very pissed guy too at the end of that race. Norris, well, he loses everything from that race. Credibility with the team as well is not going to be good here, lads. I'm telling you now. And Verstappen happily eats up the mistake and banks the points. Now, psychologically, this is a big one. Because from now on, every time they go wheel to wheel, both of them will remember this moment in Canada. Piastri remember being hit. Norris remember being blamed, and which quite rightly so he should be blamed. And you can see it in the next few races. There's a lot of aggression, but just a little tiny millimeter of hesitation sometimes, lads, because you don't want to be the guy who does the Canada again. Then we get to Austria, ladies and gents. Red Bull, Max Verstappen's home track. Well, let's look at the results. Let me just bring it back up here again, lads. Just double check. So we had Norris taking the win, Piastri, and then, Leclerc in third. I was thinking it was Verstappen for second. So Norris for the win, second Piastri, and third to Leclerc. Now, on Red Bull turfs, that's hard, man. That's very tough. Max fans rocking up in orange thinking it's their weekend, but it was the wrong orange. Verstappen and Antonelli collide on lap 1. Antonelli goes straight into Max under braking, eliminates the both. I mean, what a disaster of a race weekend for them. Stewards give Kimi a 3-place grid drop for the next race. Verstappen out, sitting in the garage. He kind of had the 1,000-yard stare on him on this one. So who left? The two McLarens and a couple of Ferraris and Mercedes trying to keep up. And Norris converts pole into lead at turn 1. Immediately comes under intense pressure from Piastri, which you could see that, right? You know, there's a bit of a heart attack moment under braking for turn 1 to turn 4, where Oscar locks up and nearly goes into the back of Lando. Big, almost Canada hangover moment there. And in Canada, Lando, as we know, hits him. So what it tells you is they're still waiting to risk it all wheel to wheel. Well, Piastri did anyway. And I think Piastri needed to sort of prove a point to him. As in, he's given him the finger without giving him the finger. And you don't blame him to. As in, he ain't going to be afraid now. And I think that was a very, very important psychological thing he needed to do. Because if Lando Norris was ahead of him and Piastri just hesitated, Lando Norris, he would have known, oh, hang on a second, I've got this fella. He's going to be very cautious overtaking me from now on. And all of a sudden, he would have felt he had an edge. And there was a good bit of mix-up, lads. Piastri, he went slightly longer in his first stint to try and get the undercut. Norris covers it off, manages the tyres and keeps track position. Now Piastri then lights up the timing screen in the second and third stints. He's faster, but Norris just had enough pace to stay ahead. So the final result, Norris, Piastri, Leclerc, and Hamilton comes in fourth with Russell coming in fifth. Norris' third win of the season, first since Monaco. Piastri walked away knowing, well, I was quicker, but I just didn't get the job done. And I'm not sure if it would have messed with Piastri's head at this stage, because he knows how close the two cars are. He just didn't have a massive advantage. And at the end of the day, yes, Austria is a place that you can overtake, right? There's no doubt about it. It ain't Monaco, lads. But it can be tough enough. I mean, Lando Norris wasn't a billion miles away here. So that's what you're dealing with. We get to Silverstone, lads. Well, this is one hell of a track. Silverstone in Great Britain. Wet, dry, penalties, and Hulkenberg's fairy tale. The man just... You've never seen a man who deserved a podium ever. And it should never have come to this. It's almost like it's disappointing for the guy. Like, why do all the other rookies come into the game, get a podium before this guy comes along? And Hulkenberg has been around for so long, does over, I think, 240 odd Grand Prix, and he had to wait this long to get a podium? I mean, it's beautiful, but it's almost tragic too. And Norris, let's have a look there now again. So Great Britain, guys. Norris takes the win, Piastri second, and Hulkenberg in third. So the race was chaos in a way that only Silverstone can be, lads, a lot of the time. Starts dry, beautiful blue skies, all of a sudden monsoon, 5 seconds later, dries up again, throw in the old safety car as well, lads, sure, why not? Half the field making their calls like they're drunk. I mean, this is Silverstone. I've raced here before, I know what the weather's like. You are wide open. Or should I even speak English properly? You're in a huge, wide open area and space when you're in Silverstone, guys. There's no mountains to shelter you. There's no buildings to shelter you. There's nothing. It is just so open, and anything can happen with the wind and the weather. And Verstappen on pole, led from Piastri. Then the rain, conditions change, strategy windows open and close every lap. Somewhere in the middle of all this, Piastri gets a 10-second time penalty for slowing too much, while preparing to lead the pack after a safety car restart. Yeah. Get your head around that one. That was actually called strategy, lads. That's called strategy. He didn't put anybody in a dangerous position. In fact, even when I saw him do it, I had a big smile on my face saying, that's my boy. That's exactly how you do it. But, no, I have to give him and sure what, I suppose if they start cursing now again on the radios, what, didn't Verstappen have that? He starts cursing and then he gets, community service? Give me a break. Verstappen spins during one of the safety car restarts and drops back. Trying too hard to save a season energy, I think. Look, then again, drivers make mistakes. It's human. And as the track dries and everyone switches to slicks, Piastri served his penalty during a stop, which was good, and Norris takes over the lead. Now, look, it was the only thing that really Piastri had to do, or had up his sleeve to keep this going. And it was just one of those things. So Norris at the moment here is on an amazing Monaco Grand Prix, now wins his home Grand Prix. These are two huge ones in 1 year, guys, whether you're going to win the championship or not. Okay, and then we get to Belgium, Spa-Francorchamps. Now, if you're a regular listener of my podcast for Formula 1, You probably know where I'm going to go with this one. Ladies and gentlemen, Belgium Spa-Francorchamps is the greatest track the world has ever seen. Once you go through Eau Rouge and you go up the camel straight up the back, it is like being in, this is the only way I can explain this, honestly, this is the only way I can explain this. It is like being in God's background, and God is there with you. There is a spiritual feel up that camel straight and out the back of Spa. Now, call me weird. I don't know. And to be honest, I've never had this conversation with any other racing driver ever. Because you don't admit these things to the racing drivers when you're back in the day. This has taken me 20 years to talk about these type of scenarios. I couldn't do it until now. I could not do it until now. There is something extremely romantic, spiritual about Belgium Spa-Francorchamps. It is an experience. It really, truly is. So let's get to the race, huh? So, heavy rain delayed the start by 80 minutes, which is a hell of a long time. There is no need for that either. Like, guys, these are Formula 1 drivers. They should be well used to monsoon conditions, even if it's dangerous. I don't care. Guys, when I was racing, we had all sorts of horrendous, kamikaze dangerous situations. None of us bitched and moaned and complained. Now, the Formula 1 drivers weren't either. You got to give them that. It was the FIA. Oh, we can't be doing this now, lads. Ridiculous, lads. Absolutely ridiculous. But then we finally got going, and Norris was on pole. Piastri gets the better turn or run through Eau Rouge on lap 5, and then completes the move on Kemmel Straight. And crucially, well before the Lacombe braking zone. From there, Oscar managed a 1 second gap in the early running. It wasn't a DRS mugging. It's a driver saying, I'm quicker than you, buddy, and I'm doing it at Spa, and changing conditions, remember that. That's what he was kind of saying to him. And the track dried. Piastri pits on lap 12 for mediums. Norris is forced to go one extra lap and then switches to hard on the next tour. But by the time the pit cycle shakes out, lads, Norris is 9 seconds behind. That's a monumental amount of time. And then really from there, it was a classic Spa chase mode. Piastri on softer tyres, managing them well. Norris ripping chunks out of the gap, in fairness. Leclerc and Verstappen behind, having their own sort of little fight between them for the minor podium place. And then you had Piastri take the win, Norris in second, and Leclerc in third. Oh, I didn't actually even call them out at the start, lads. I got distracted by my my Spa romanticism. But Spa, what a place. We get to Hungary, lads. The mini karting track, I like to call it. The tightrope before the summer break. Now, Norris holds off. Let's have a look at the results again here, lads, to make sure. Norris takes the win, Piastri in second, and Russell in third. Now, if Spa's a roller coaster, Hungary's a karting track. Tight, twisty, very hard to overtake here, and it's all about rhythm and just keeping the momentum up. Now, a lot of tracks are like that anyway, but this one is especially for a tight, twisty track. It's very important to keep the momentum up. And Norris wins the Hungarian Grand Prix after holding off Piastri. Leclerc had been leading earlier, building a gap over Piastri in P2. It was kind of looking quite promising for him, but both Leclerc and Piastri are on two-stop strategies, while Norris gambles a one-stop. Now, Ferrari and Piastri do the same normal thing. McLaren put Norris on the brave call, fewer stops, but more tyre pain. And as the race unfolds, Leclerc's pace, it does fall away. Piastri starts hunting Norris on fresher tyres in the final laps, and it becomes Lando versus Oscar again. But this time with Norris as the wounded animal, so to speak, hanging on. Lando wins by a tiny margin, just, 0.7 of a second. It's not even a gap, lads. In many ways, it's a heartbeat. That's how close Piastri was to going into the summer break with a massive, massive psychological advantage here. And look, Norris takes his 5th win. Piastri's championship lead is cut down to 9 points. Still not the end of the world. Russell in 3rd. And the final image, if we get from the article here, lads, you don't get the extra lap. You get the checkered flag. You gotta people aren't just gonna roll out an extra lap for you if you've got a 70 lap race. Well, listen, buddy, you gotta get that job done within those 70 laps, and that's it. So guys, we're closing it off today now, but what do we look at this, right? It was the summer break now. So they had, well, just under a month off at this stage. And Piastri ahead by 9. Norris snapping at his heels with a good bit of momentum here. And Verstappen sort of lurking, but he's getting into a stage now where he needs some miracles, lads. And Ferrari and Verstappen, okay, relevant, yes. Dangerous in certain weekends and tracks, absolutely yes. But not consistent enough to lead the championship. And from a storytelling point of view, if you're McLaren, you have 2 problems. How do we win the Constructors' Championship without the 2 lads killing each other? 2, which one of them do we quietly prepare the team around for the long term? Because this is what they'd be looking at right now. And the brutal truth is, you often don't know the answer until the worst happens. Another Canada-style collision, a Spa-style overtake attempt that can go horribly wrong, a safety car where it has to say live on team radio. That's coming. It's not if, it's probably when. Because this 7 race stretch has already told us everything we need to know. The 2 lads aren't backing down. They're feeling the pressure, the tension already. They're both capable of winning at every round. I would say that Piastri believes that the title's here his more than Norris does. I think Norris wants to win the title, but I don't know if at this stage he's believing that he can win the title. And I hope I'm wrong about the guy. And hovering in the background like a horror movie jump scare, you've still got Verstappen, who only needs a couple of DNFs or McLaren collisions to drag himself back into the title at this stage, lads. And we're only at halfway points. The real question is, the 1 second the half year is yet to answer is brutally simple. Is Oscar Piastri the future world champion guy to bet on? Or is Lando finally snaps and gets his groove back? And either way, Max Verstappen is going to hate it. And we're going to love every second. Ladies and gents, we'll be back this time next week with the next 7 races.
Walsh running the Irish crane, and look at the move. He's making down to the inside.
Moves to the front. What a move from 5th all the way to the lead in lap 1.
Walsh takes win number 2.
Peter. Walsh.